Hello, friends! How are you? I hope you're having a magical day today. Um, Today, we're going to be chatting about going to art school. This is going to be like a paint and chat kind of video, so feel free to have this on in the background if you're in the middle of doing something. And if you want to get cozied up, grab some water or your drink of choice, and let's discuss. First, I just want to preface that this is based solely on my experience with going to school and what my goals are for my art career. So my thoughts and opinions will be skewed in that regard. For perspective, I went to the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. While it was primarily a fashion school, they have a pretty robust creative arts department that offers programs in photography, fine art, communication design, and more. But I majored in illustration, and out of all the art schools I saw, I settled on FIT because frankly, it was the most affordable. I mean, still not cheap, and I'm not sure what the tuition has, like if it's changed since I went there 11 years ago? Oh, that's awful. Oh my god, that's awful. Oh my god, that's awful. Wow, okay, wow. Time really flies when you're floating in debt. Anyway, and to be honest, when I was in high school, I wasn't even sure if I was going to go to an art school. Like, I looked at a bunch of liberal arts schools that had art programs, but yeah, like, I wasn't sure where I was going to go. And at least in the US, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but when you're in high school, it is almost forced down your throat that you have to attend college. Like, there really isn't a choice. Your teachers tell you, your guidance counselor tells you, your parents may or may not tell you, and if you don't go or don't have ambitions on going or want to do something outside of that, like go into work instead, then you were a hopeless cause and or an abject failure, which I could make a whole rant about that idea, but I do not have the time or the energy, and that would just make me feel too many emotions. But yeah, it was kind of just ingrained that you had to go to school. And now, I wasn't the best student in high school. I mean, I wasn't, I studied and I got good grades, although, let me tell you, when in senior year, I took pre-calc, and I failed. Oh my god, bombed bombed that class. I don't know why, math and me just do not mix, and that wasn't pretty. But other than that, I was a pretty okay student, but I didn't really have any degree or major or path that I was interested in outside of art. Well, except maybe theater. I was a big theater kid in high school. Surprise, surprise. And actually thought about studying that over art, but eventually knew that art was much more dear to my heart. And in retrospect, I definitely don't think I was ready to jump off to college. If I could do it again and had to go to school, I definitely think I would want to go to community college first and then transfer. But ultimately, I did go to FIT, and I just want to underscore that it was such a huge privilege to have been able to go to school. That is not something that everybody does or can do, and I just want to emphasize like how much privilege and how grateful I am to have been able to do that. And even though, like I said, if I had the choice, what I may not have done the same thing again, like going to school, there are definitely things that I did enjoy about having gone to FIT, and I think are good things about going to art school in general. Like, one, being around other creatives around your age and getting inspired by their work and working with them and having like a community of other artists. That is something that I honestly really do miss. Working every day by myself kind of gets really, emotionally taxing, and I miss being around other people my age. I just miss being around other people who were doing the same things and creative endeavors as I was. And getting insight and guidance from like really good professors who were in the industry and still worked in the industry. Like that was, oh my God, some of my teachers were really, really great. And also being able to take classes outside of my major that showed different creative avenues like ceramics. Like I was exposed to things I may not have been exposed to before. And I mean, another positive I'm begrudgingly putting in, but I mean, it is a reality, is the annoying value that it puts on your resume because we live in a capitalistic dungeon that requires you to go into debt in order to get a quote-unquote real job. But can I say, at least in today's world, that going to art school showed me anything that I couldn't learn on my own? Frankly, no. I mean, the internet has boomed in the last decade, and you can basically teach yourself and grow as an artist right from your home. I mean, there are so many videos on YouTube that show painting techniques, figure drawings, character studies, storyboarding for animation, etc. And there are also so many artists on social media who offer valuable industry advice in blogs and videos like Rebecca Green and Anusha Sayed. Both of them I'll link in the description. And also, this all depends on your goals as an artist. For me, I always knew that I wanted to write and illustrate kids' books. That has been my goal since I was a child, and that was the purpose of me majoring in illustration at university. Now, I can't speak for someone who may want to get into animation or another field that actually may require education in order to be in the field, because I'm not familiar with that area. I'm only speaking from what I was looking for with my path, and while I am so grateful to have been able to go to school, and I know that it definitely helped me parlay in my education into full-time graphic design jobs so that I could make money and stay afloat, the education I got isn't necessarily something that I couldn't have maybe taught myself, at least in today's technology. Now let's quickly discuss some cons. These are probably just more like personal things about art school, but just things that I want to mention. First, and most obvious, I'll make it quick, the cost. Good God, it is expensive. And I am not just talking about the tuition, which is absurd. Oh my God, US, get your act together. It should not be like this. But besides tuition, you are paying so much for art supplies. It's insane. And most of the teachers that I had refused to let you share art supplies, which I think is just wasteful and infuriating, but I won't rant about that today. The cost, ridiculous. Ugh. Moving on. Classes, yes, some of them were great. Like I actually really enjoyed my fashion illustration classes. They really taught me how to like break things up into shapes and exaggerate things, and it definitely had a strong influence on my style. But some things, like an oil painting class that was like absolutely required, I knew I never really cared about oil painting. I'm sorry, no offense, it's just not my thing. And ultimately, I ended up having to pay for a class that I didn't want or need to take. And another con that I will say, and maybe this is just my school thing and not an every art school thing, but my school did not really prepare or help the students understand how to get clients in the illustration world. That was part of the reason why I wanted to go to university, was to how to learn to break into the field and get into publishing and acquire clients in the publishing industry. I had to figure out that stuff on my own, a lot from watching YouTube videos. So again, it's this thing where I feel like for my purposes and what I wanted from my art, I really can't say that having gone to school, I don't think I would do it again. I just don't think I would personally. Again, personally, that's just me. And going off of that, I have never once been asked by an agent, an art director, whatever, where I went to school. That's just, no one has ever asked that. If you want to illustrate books, they just care about your work. They, like, education is like a nice thing to have, but ultimately, agents and art directors and publishers just care if you can get the job done, if your portfolio is top notch and can visually tell a story. That is it. You could have gone to school in London or Paris or the moon. It doesn't matter. It just matters about your talent. But again, these are just my experiences and my thoughts about this. And if anybody has any other thoughts or other points that I may have missed, like, please let me know. I would love to talk about this. I definitely don't think that this is like a one-sided thing. I think going to school is such a complicated and personal choice, and I can only speak from my experience as a kids book illustrator and somebody who wanted to go to school specifically to learn and get better at illustration and also understand the industry. And anyway, if you made it here, thank you so much for being a wonderful shining star and listening to my senseless rambling. I appreciate you very, very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.